breaking news, everyone, and this just in. Explosions have rocked Tehran. And what have they been targeting? Police stations, apparently. Now, you might ask yourself, why are they targeting police stations after all? I mean, they've taken out most of the missiles, they've gone after the IRGC. Why are they going after police stations? Well, the only reason why is because they're probably going to have boots on the ground. And in fact, it even says, just all throughout, they have been taking out police stations. The reason why is U.S. and Israeli strikes have deliberately targeted Kurdish regions of Iran bordering posts, police stations, and military bases. Reason why? The Kurds are coming in, people. The Kurds are coming in. They came in 2003 with Iraq, and now they're coming in now. And just an FYI to all those people who don't know, the Kurds are actually one of the largest nomadic tribes out there, and they don't have a sovereign country. They basically bordered on Syria, Iraq, and Iran, and I don't hear one damn liberal complaining about them not having a country. But yet they got ostracized from Iran in 1979, and not even a complaint on that. Despite Iranian security forces claiming everything's under control, reality on the ground shows massive destruction from recent U.S.-Israeli strikes. IRGC and police logistic bases, command centers in Tehran devastated, border guard HQ, army supply depots wrecked. So yeah, on March 3rd alone, 200 killed and 300 wounded in Tehran. IRGC, police bases, I mean, they're all being taken out. And again, the reason why, they're putting boots on the ground. And the Kurdish are waiting. The Kurdish officials tell Fox News Digital that they're prepared to strike Iran if U.S.-Israeli military pressure weakens Tehran's missiles and drone capabilities. We believe that those moments are not far from us. And by the way, one awesome thing about the Kurds that a lot of people don't know, they also have an all-female military. So would it not be hilarious if an all-female military came in and basically just emasculated the ever-living shit out of the Ayatollah and the regime? I mean, hey, liberals, it's the one time women are going to actually overthrow a patriarchy. But yet you're against it. Why? So you really don't believe in what you spew. Got it.
Jets and missiles crisscross the skies over northern Iraq as the war in Iran spreads across the Middle East. Some of the United States' strategically important bases and runways are dotted across this part of the country. These are borderlands between Iraq and Iran, but they're also home to the Kurds. They're also home to the Kurds. They're also home to the Kurds, an ethnic minority that straddles the border of the two countries. The small mountain towns are where thousands of Iranian Kurds flee to find safety from the Iranian regime.
And they had to flee Iran and go to Iraq.
Opposition.
50 years ago.
Karim Parwazi is a senior political figure in one of the groups preparing to cross the border to join the American-Israeli war against Iran.
Obviously, a lot has happened.
Okay, if I ever run into any British subscribers, watchers, whatever, do us all Americans a favor. Speak the fuck up. We can't hear you half the time. It sounds all cute and nice, but it sounds like you're trying to read me a bedtime story. I want to learn the news, not fall asleep.
And in the last few days, there is a sense that the Kurds may get involved in Iran. Is that you're planning that now?
From what I've been hearing, there have been women defecting to the mountains and the swamp areas, like basically the line of Iraq and Iran. And they're literally training and been waiting for this. The only issue is they can't physically go in unless they take out the police departments and the IRGC, because they don't have to worry too much about the missiles and stuff, but they do have to worry about a ground assault if they're coming in with boots on the ground. The Kurds, as far as I know, they really don't have an air force unless they're part over here, part over here, part over here with different militaries. I know that the Kurds definitely helped the U.S. in the Iraq invasion in 2003. My cousin was actually a Marine who went over in 2003. He made a big mention about the Kurds. So as far as I know, that was a big help, was just the Kurdish people.
For many years, for decades, this regime has attacked us. killed our people and carried out acts of genocide against us. Now that the regime is becoming weaker and weaker, we see this as an opportunity to finally move towards achieving our freedom.
The wives and children of the Peshmerga, as the fighters are called, have moved out of their military bases as their men prepare for battle. Zanya is one of the fighters who will cross. He's visiting the safe house. Zanya lost his wife and baby in an Iranian missile attack 4 years ago. For him, it is personal, and he thinks now is the time.
Do you think this is one of the most important times now?
I actually think that for now, it's personal for about 80% of the regime. Because realistically, they just took out, like, what, 40,000 people? I mean, they have family, they have friends. I guarantee that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people who miss them. And I mean, I even know people who fled after it got overthrown in 1979. They fled when they were 18 years old. They hadn't seen their parents since. And I mean, Masood has to be almost 70 now. So when you think about it, yeah, it's personal for a lot of people, and you wonder why they're dancing in the fucking streets. This isn't rocket science, it's common sense. Ironic I say rocket science. It's not Iranian rocket science, because apparently those rockets like to go up, come down, and blow up on themselves, kind of like they did with these schools.
Is this the last best chance to achieve the falling of the Iranian government?
Much of international community agrees this regime must go. That coordination makes this moment different, and it gives us hope. This is an opportunity for change.
Many living in these communities have been waiting for decades to return.
Oh, dude. Did you see the state of these? Ew. I mean, if this is the state of, like, their tomatoes, that don't look very good. I don't even know if those tomatoes, but they look like tomatoes. Eesh.
Decades to return home. They believe with American support, this is a once-in-a-generation opportunity.
Well, the United States and Israel may have all the sophisticated weaponry and firepower, but it's ironic. But actually, the success or failure of this war could be decided by communities like this one. They're Kurds, and they're prepared to cross the border into Iran and join in what they hope will be an uprising against the regime. They didn't ask for this war to happen in the last few weeks or so, but they are prepared to take part.
Would a Kurd...
Oh, trust me, they asked for the war to happen. They definitely asked for the war to happen. They wanted it to happen. They've been wanting it to happen for 50 fucking years. And in fact, you can even see here that there are Kurdish militia groups that are literally all female.
As a revolutionary woman, I have the best feeling in the world. We have never thought Kurdish girls should not be involved in revolutions. We have always fought shoulder to shoulder with men.
Here in the mountains of Iraqi Kurdistan, these Kurdish female fighters have been training for years. They've been our allies in the fight against ISIS. Now they're spoiling for a new fight. The Ayatollah in their sights. They're desperate to liberate their Kurdish families across Iran.
The regime has behaved brutally, not only against the Kurds, but also against its own people.
Just 3 weeks ago, 20-year-old Galara was living a much different life in Iran. Then she saw it for herself. The regime's crackdown, Kurds and Persians alike massacred in the streets. She fled her old home to join this all-female fighting force. Intent on liberating the Kurdish minority towns she left behind.
Before coming here, I was in the
Okay, so this is an all-female fighting force. There was just a really manly-looking chick at the beginning. My bad.
protests for 4 to 5 days. Now, with no doubt, our people here and in Iranian Kurdistan do not fear a war.
Ayatollah in their sights. Ayatollah in their sights. They're desperate to liberate their Kurdish families across Iran.
The regime has behaved brutally, not only against the Kurds, but also against its own people.
Just 3 weeks ago, 20-year-old Galara was living a much different life in Iran. Then she saw it for herself. The regime's crackdown, Kurds and Persians alike massacred in the streets. She fled her old home to join this all-female fighting force. Intent on liberating the Kurdish minority towns she left behind.
Before coming here, I was in the protests for 4 to 5 days. Now, with no doubt, our people here and in Iranian Kurdistan do not fear a war.
When will you decide to go in, to start the fight?
First, I want to thank America for its position against the Islamic Republic and its crimes.
Commanding this unit, 27-year-old Adila. She calls for an independent Kurdistan, a dream denied for generations. 40 million of her people have been subjugated and scattered across Turkey, Syria, Iraq, and Iran.
I want America to attack the core of the Islamic Republic. To topple a regime that has committed all these crimes over 47 years requires outside support. Our struggle is ongoing, and Kurdistan's Free Army has been active inside the land, in Iran.
Their unit, like the men's, holds here in the mountains, praying for the United States to start a war in the sky so they can start theirs on the ground.
But yeah, like I said, I mean, the Kurds are ready. The men, the women, they're all ready to go in. And it's going to be awesome. I mean, nothing's going to be more hilarious than to see some regime motherfucker in a turban get his ass whooped by a bitch. Yeah, that's going to be awesome. By all means, if it emasculates them more, go for it. Like I said, basically the Kurds are going in, and what I actually found today was a awesome video that I think you guys should see, because this guy actually went in with the Kurds in Iraq and then ended up joining the Kurdish militias after he was a Marine. And I will go ahead and link the video.
I've been arrested by Iranian-backed factions in Iraq. I have volunteered multiple years in Kurdish militant groups, such as the YPG and the YBS. I've spent time with PJAK, the Iranian fighters that reside in Iraq. I've spent time with all these groups. I've seen the pain that they have from all the countries that have promised them things, and it doesn't add up to much. And this is all relevant today as we're looking at them potentially being funded by the US government, as well as supported by the Israelis, in order to take back Iran to the people from this regime that holds it captive. And with all this, I have insider knowledge on what's happening in Iran. I have multiple fans of the page that reached out to me after the protest saying, yes, it was a massacre. We want to rise up, but we don't know how. We don't know how to use weapons. We don't know how to go and conduct ambushes, how to use guerrilla techniques, and that's exactly where we're at today. All over the news right now, it looks like the coalition is getting ready to support these Kurdish groups to fight on behalf of the Iranian people inside of Iran. So I'm going to explain all the Kurdish groups that are aligned and the situation with all of them. And every time I do this on my channel, people usually click away. But I recommend you don't do it, because as things are looking right now, it looks like they're going to be our entry point into taking back Iran from this regime.
No, and by the way, if you made it this far into my video, you definitely want to see this one. This guy has a lot of knowledge, and it's amazing.
Ground in support of the people who also want this. So first of all, the Kurds have been used by the US and other coalition partners to fight on their behalf for decades. In Syria, there was the YPG. This is the first group that I joined after the Marine Corps. In Iraq, there's the YBS and Peshmerga. These are two heavily Kurdish groups in Iraq that have completely different political leanings. So their ideologies are different, but they're Kurds nonetheless. And also in Iraq is the mostly Turkish Kurds called the PKK, which has been designated as a terrorist organization by every country in the world, and they hide in the mountains of Iraq, in northern Iraq. And lastly, we have the Iranian Kurds called the PJAK fighters, who also reside in Iraq because they were kicked out by the Iranian regime since back in the 90s. So the group we're focusing on right now, the one that's in the news, and it's going to be in the news in the future, is PJAK. Now, fun fact, they've accounted for over 70% of the attacks on IRGC affiliated groups in Iraq from 2015 to 2025. Now, one thing to know about Iraq, they also have a problem with ISIS. They did, especially in the past. And it wasn't just the Kurdish groups who fought against them. Iran was also against ISIS. So the reason we see so much bombings in Iraq is because the PMF forces, the Popular Mobilization Forces, which are heavily funded and manned by Iranians from the IRGC and other groups inside of Iran, they are Iranian government affiliated. They came to Iraq for security during the ISIS campaigns. So 70% of the attacks on the IRGC affiliated groups in Iraq have been conducted by PJAK. They are our top ally when it comes to countering Iranian influence inside of Iraq. So the coalition already has good relations with them. They are a well-known strategic ally of the USA. But here's the problem. Every time the USA has worked with the Kurds, it's always been...
Hold up. I gotta go back to that, man. Was this guy just getting a freaking bear hug with a missile launcher on his shoulder? That's a great way to set it off. That's smart.
Strategic ally of the USA. But here's the problem. Every time the USA has worked with the Kurds, it's always been strategically. When the time comes that they are needed, we support them. But it usually doesn't go further than that. The YPG in Syria was recently taken over completely by the new Syrian regime that's ran by a prior Al-Qaeda leader. And this happened just 3 weeks ago. And now they have to be integrated into this new Syrian army. So the Kurds just got over this, the abandonment from the coalition in support of their democratic values they were trying to make in Syria. They held about half of Syria for a decade or so. And just 3 weeks ago, it was completely lost. Now, when this all happened, the YPG fighters, they didn't just stay there. I mean, yes, there are some YPG fighters.
Sounds like, and I mean, put a dollar on it. We're probably going to have issues with Syria in a little while. Give it a year or two.
Still in Syria, reintegrating into their army, but a lot of them, I would say most of them, have fled Syria and went back to Iraq. In the northern Iraq area, that's where all these fighters are kind of staying whenever things get too rough. And when I speak about all these different groups, they can be kind of clumped into one. They have the same ideology. A lot of the fighters bounce from PJAK to the YBS, to the YPG, to any of the other groups. They all work together, and that's how I have experience with PJAK. They were the ones who got me into Syria in the first place and got me out. They were the drivers, the chauffeurs. They had to stay in their tunnel systems when the drones were above us. They bounce from one group to another quite frequently. So when one side needs help, all of them respond. That's what you need to know. So despite PJAK's size of only a couple thousand fighters, very similar to what we had in the YBS, that can be very quickly changed to tens of thousands of experienced and trained fighters from Syria and other groups in Iraq. They are QRF, ready to support any local area that needs help. Now, the problem that the Kurds have, and have been not only cognizant of, but also public
For those who couldn't see, QRF is Quick Reaction Faction.
about is that they have always been used to do the dirty work for the coalition without actual long-term support. The YPG fought ISIS for us, like I described earlier, and then they were wiped out and forgotten over time. They also rose up against the Saddam Hussein regime with the promise of US support, but then that quickly dropped through, and the result was the Anfal campaign. 50,000 of them, men, women, children, killed. They know very well that the countries that help them don't care about Jinjian Azadi, woman life freedom. They only care about seeing their ends met. The other proof of this that the Kurds will be very worried about is that the Washington-supported Pahlavi, who wants to become leader of Iran, is very opposed to separationists, and in his own words, it's the Kurds. The Kurds in all this aren't just fighting for the Iranians, or the Syrians, or the Yazidis down in Shengal where I was. They're fighting for an idea called Greater Kurdistan.
Yeah, they want Kurdistan. They want basically actual independence in a country, kind of like Palestine. But again, not one liberal woman bitching about it. Not one. Not one. Not one fucking liberal woman probably even knows how to spell Kurdish.
Which is the unification of all Kurdish land that wasn't given to them back when the Sykes-Picot was written and the lines were drew 100 years ago, which is why all of this conflict is happening in the first place, by the way. So really, all of the fighting and killing they've been doing the last...
Let's go back to that, because it kind of looked like to me... Oh, sorry. There we go. Another.
Which is the unification of...
So Syria, Iraq, which I think the borders of Iraq. Okay. So Iran was never the Kurdish peoples. This is pretty much Turkey and Iraq and Syria. That's it. Well, it looks like Turkey has to go and release a lot of their land because apparently they're living on stolen land. What was that, like, Kerchak, whatever, part of the Young Turks? That dumb fuck? Hey, what's going on with this area? Apparently it's not really yours. Why don't you return it to their people? I don't know, you tell the Israelis to do that all the time. You tell the Israelis to do that all the fucking time. Why don't you return this to their people? No? No? Why? Because that would make too much fucking sense because you don't live what you preach? Got it.
All Kurdish land that wasn't given to them back when the Sykes-Picot was written and the lines were drew 100 years ago, which is why all of this conflict is happening in the first place, by the way. So really, all of the fighting and killing they've been doing the last 100 years has been their process of getting over the imperial's boundaries we set in place for them long ago. It's...
You know, with all the bitching that Hassan does, you've never heard him mention the Kurdish people, have you? Ever. I wonder why that is.
Tragic. 70 million Kurds don't have any land. They don't have a place to stay comfortably except for Iraqi Kurdistan, which is why they all go there, which they also had to fight for. And in the mix of all this is a clear aggressor and denier of Kurdish rights, which is Turkey. Turkey has been helping Iran this entire time. When the protests were happening beforehand, they've been helping not only them, but also Al-Qaeda and ISIS.
Yeah, but the irony is, Turkey has been helping Iran. Turkey does not like the U.S. Iran just launched a ballistic missile into Turkey. They just attacked their own fucking ally. Yeah. Great choice on that, Turkey, huh? Real smart, ain't ya?
With ISIS, I saw this with my own two eyes, where I went to the area, Kobani, where the Turks let ISIS make a tactical withdrawal through their border and then back to Syria, not only Syria, but Turkish-controlled Syria, in order to make some more attacks. All of the ISIS leaders were found in their occupied areas in Syria, less than 2 kilometers from the actual Turkish border, some within a couple hundred meters. They've been bombing the Kurds for decades now. Every group I was in was targeted by them. We were watched 24/7. It was terrible, awful, and the whole world turned their eyes away. When Ukraine was invaded, who wanted to join NATO? Finland and Sweden. But because Turkey is in NATO, they were only allowed to join when they extradited a bunch of Kurdish opposition forces to Turkey that were residing in those countries. It all comes down to the Kurds. I've said this a long time ago. They are all connected. This world is connected. That's why I joined. The Kurds are very big into internationalism, which is that this is not just a Kurdish fight. This is a fight for Jinjian Azadi. This is a fight that the whole world has to have their eyes on. And going on with the Turkish problem, with Iran during the protests when PJAK was attempting to cross the border to support their Iranian brothers and sisters, Turkey gave coordinates of the Kurds movement to Iran, who then struck them at the border, as well as they conducted their own airstrikes in support of Iran. Turkey is a part of NATO, but they are not on the side of good. They have a dictator who's been in power for over 20 years. It's the same as Putin. So because they're a member of NATO, this is the reason why the coalition support of the Kurds.
If there's been a dictator in power in Turkey for the last 20 years, then why do we allow the Young Turks to be a group here? I mean, wouldn't they be a terrorist regime then? Like, can we just mark them as a terrorist regime? That Anna, whoever, the Kerchak, whoever the fuck he is, and Hassan, all 3 of those goat fuckers. Can we just call them terrorists? Call them what they are. They rub their hands evilly together, want death to Israel's, death to America. Can we just call them what they are? They're terrorists. They're goat fucking terrorists. And Hassan's a pedo, from what I hear.
Doesn't usually see past 5 years. As soon as we get what we want from them, we let go of the situation, which then lets Turkey come in with their massive air and drone forces to finish them off. This is what the Kurds have experienced time and time again. Now, the good news is this. The Kurds know this. They know they've been used time and time again. And the real question now is this. Do they follow through with supporting the USA in their ventures again, knowing support will surely go away eventually? Or do they let this moment go by without helping and with no chance at Greater Kurdistan? What would you do? It's a tough call. Now, in the middle of all this, all 5 of the Iranian Kurdish parties spent 8 months negotiating
Kamala. Apparently, Kamala Harris might be a Kurdish group.
a joint coalition. So in January, during the protest, they organized a general strike, which was observed across 39 cities and towns in Iranian Kurdistan. That they're working together, they're making an impact in Iran, which is what the Iranians need right now. They need a group that knows what to do, how to conduct guerrilla warfare. They're one of the only armed groups that have claimed IRGC attacks. They have attacked them, and they continue to be attacked as well. They were trained by the US military back when ISIS was causing problems.
Yep, and that's how they actually learned their guerrilla warfare, was from the US Marines. My cousin was one of the ones training them.
From 2014 and 2017, so they are the coalition's most formidable military component out there. All of these groups are banded together, they are connected. They help each other when they need help. So if they are the ones who break into Western Iran, if they are the ones who start taking back land and giving the Iranian people hope, it is our job as Americans and Europeans to have their back. When the dust settles, when there is regime change in Iran, it is up to us to keep the new leader and the Iranian people in check, reminding them that the Kurds are the ones who have fought for 47 years. They're the first ones to see the oppression clear, and they were the only ones to take up arms consistently in the face of almost certain death. So that's all I have to say. That's as far as the update goes. This is new news. We don't know how far this is going to go, if they are going to be following in the coalition's footsteps, but it's looking like that's going to be a very realistic scenario. So thank you for listening today. I am sure from this video you guys understand the situation as far as you need to know, and it's up to us to speak about the Kurds and let them know that we have their back. It really is. Internationalism is very clear. So anyway, thank you for watching. BG Kurdistan, BG Shirashkari.
All right, so I just want to show you guys that, because that actually had a lot of information in it. But yeah, so what it looks like might be happening soon is boots on the ground, but it's not going to be Americans. It's going to be the Kurdish. So yeah, anyways, go ahead and share this video around if you want to, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Hey everyone, thanks for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.